Hello, welcome to your first Slow and Low Karate training class. Now, the first thing I want to do is explain to you the objectives of Slow Low Karate training. What I'm after is to try and help you to grasp some health and wellness through movement, and for you to create an interesting hobby. What I've done is always assumed that you'll be operating in a small space, maybe a room at home. So we're going to keep the space requirements very small. And I think if we work on 2 meters by 2 meters, so a 4 meter area, then that should be fine. And I will try and keep to a 4 meter area whenever I do anything with you. So your space requirement is going to be very small. And this is about interest, hobby, wellness, mental and physical activity, but not a strenuous physical activity, and hopefully not too strenuous mentally either. I think that the concept of Tai Chi, which is, if you like, the slow version of Kung Fu, the more sedate version of Kung Fu, I think that concept is really good, and I would like to apply the same concept to karate. For me, karate is such an interesting hobby, an interesting lifestyle for me, but obviously that's a personal choice. And I think that it's got so much to offer in terms of movement and activity without necessarily needing to be a combat well, it is a combat art, but without you necessarily having to think of it in a combat context. However, as we go through this, what I'd like to do is encourage you to take on good technique, because good technique will encourage us to use our mental acuity more, to develop that mental flexibility and to stay on top of things. And also, if you ever decide that you want to throw a punch for real, throw a kick for real, you will have good technique. And good technique is always the most efficient way to do things. And if you're in a situation where you either want to throw a good technique or you need to throw a good technique, then your chances of being effective will be better if you're efficient with that technique. Right, so I'm going to nag you a little bit about making good stances, good leg positions, good hand positions, good body positions. Because if this is an interest and a hobby, let's do it well, let's do it nicely. Okay? Alright, well, the first thing we're going to do is a warm-up. And I'm going to assume that you have no knowledge of martial arts, you've done nothing before, and we'll go right from scratch. If this is a bit slow for you, then obviously you can skip ahead and try other classes. But as this is the intro class, then it needs to be what I would call entry level. Alright, so we're going to bow to begin with, feet together and hands by our sides, and bow this way. Good. Alright, now all we're going to do is some nice little gentle warm-up exercises. You're going to step from side to side. And like I said, I'm going to stay pretty much in this 4 meter square, so 2 by 2. And hopefully everyone can create that much space for themselves at home. So it's an environment that's sustainable for everyone. Good, alright, so let's just speed up a little bit. Right, now this exercise is really good because it warms up your adductors, the muscle up the inside of your leg. Right, you can also see lots of things about me in this class that I wouldn't be doing in a karate class. Right, I'm going to go forwards and backwards now. So I'm going to step forward left, catch up right, back left, catch up left. Right, so my left leg leads off, my right leg catches up. Keep your knees soft. Just get those big muscles in your legs and your bottom working. Get them activated. So back to what I was saying about what I would do in this class, but I wouldn't do in a traditional karate class. I wouldn't be wearing a watch for a start. I'd be dressed differently. And in some of the classes that we do, I may be wearing my belt, I may be wearing my suit. I think that if we're training alone, right, let's go lead off with the other leg, so we'll lead off right now. If we're going to be training alone, then obviously there's a huge amount of flexibility. And there's no there's no need to be uniform with everyone else, because we are uniform with everyone else, whatever we do, if we're training alone, aren't we? So it's not quite so important. That doesn't mean that I don't think wearing uniforms to training karate, just right on your feet, just gentle jogging. That doesn't mean that I don't think uniforms and belts in karate are important, because I do. I think they're very important. They help give structure and a really good, nice way to progress. Right? But I just don't think it's necessarily relevant in a solo training situation. Alright, now I'm going to bring my right knee up to touch on my left elbow, and then I go the opposite way. So just up this way. And I don't know how flexible or mobile you are, but just do your best, get some movement going in your body, and we'll get things started. I often think that getting off the mark is such a difficult thing for people that often they don't. You know, they don't get off the mark, and that's a real shame. Because once you get started, I think it's much easier to keep going, keep that momentum going. But it's getting started to start with, isn't it? Good. Alright, I'm just going to move forward. I'm going to do back lunges. So I'm going to lunge back with one leg and then the other. So lunge, lunge. Good. Alternate legs. That's nice. What we're trying to do really, in our legs and our bottom, we have our biggest muscles. If we can get those big muscles activated and doing something, then they'll get the blood flow going better than the small muscles will. And when the blood starts flowing, we'll warm up. You know, we'll create more of a demand on our heart and lungs, and we'll get things going. Now, obviously, I should have started off by saying, make sure that you're medically fit to do this. You know, don't, let's just jog again lightly. Don't do anything that's going to put yourself in danger. You have to take responsibility for this. You have to make sure that you're capable of doing these things. And if I ask you to do anything that's super strenuous, you find really difficult, then don't do it. Go up to the level that you find acceptable, and then ease off. There's no penalty or no bad thing about not being able to do anything. Right, I want you to push your palms together, so you activate your shoulder muscles. Get those muscles around your shoulders and arms fired up a little bit. Get them making some demand on your blood supply as well. Good, right, now let's pull. Good, and then we'll push again. Good, that's nice. And we'll pull again. Good, alright, so front crawl. Just bring those arms up this way, nice and easy. Bring those arms up as though you're front crawling in a pool, yep. Try and get those upper arms up, right up by your ears if you can. If you can brush your ears, that's good. With your upper arms. Good. Alright, let's do back crawl. So we go the other way. I'm not sure about the accuracy of my swimming technique. It's certainly not an area of my expertise. But front crawl and back crawl seems like a reasonable description of what we're doing. So good, right, now just swing across your body this way. Good. And then just let your hands turn upwards as you swing out. Palms upwards. Good. Alright, now we're going to do some leg swings, some straight and some bent, and then some straight leg. Now usually, in most things, I'll ask you to start with your left leg in front. So what I'll do is mirror that by putting my right leg in front. Yeah, so we'll be like a mirror image of each other. So now I'll just wait to do leg swings, knee swings. So we just swing this knee through, keep your leg bent, let it come up to a comfortable height, and then just let it drop back again. Don't force anything. We're just trying to take your muscles, your glutes and your hamstrings through a little bit of range of their movement, trying to get them extending and contracting and relaxing nice and gently. Alright, so we're going to do 10 on each leg. Ready? So keep your hands up. It's good practice keeping your hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, change sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's nice, good. Right now we do opening the gate. So we're going to lift our knee up, sweep it out to the side and place it down. Lift up, sweep out to the side and down. Right, and again, do this gently. Let this warm your body up. Let your body be prompted into action. Okay, ready? So we'll do 10 each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Alright, so elbows up. We'll just twist around to your left. First of all. Good. And to your right. And back to your left. And to your right. Good, okay, so let's get into some technique now. The first thing I'm going to show you is what we call a fighting stance. Now, you know, we have to take this, you have to take this almost with a pinch of salt. I'm not necessarily training you to fight, but what I am doing is training you in a fighting art that I hope will help you with your health, your mobility, your dexterity, your coordination, and also to keep your mental strength and your mental dexterity going as well. All right, so I will refer to fighting things all of the time. All right, but obviously you have to make it contextual for yourself. You know, I don't want you to always think, oh, he's expecting me to fight or he's doing this. But it's a fighting art that you're learning, and it's just done a little bit more slowly and a little bit, and the kicks are all going to be lower, so hence slow and low karate. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to put your left foot forward, bend your knees, so your knees are nice and soft. All right. Now, I don't mind how long your stance is, right, but I would say don't make it so small that you can have straight legs and it doesn't activate your quads and your glutes. What it needs to do is be long enough to make you need to bend your knees a little bit, so you have some what I would call tone in these thighs and in your bottom muscles, yeah? So they are holding you in position. You haven't just locked your legs and you're just rigid, you're letting your joints do all the work. Alright, so let your quads and your hamstrings and your glutes do some work. So when you bend your knees, you can just feel those activate, feel these muscles activate. And often people say, oh, it makes my legs ache. Alright, well, don't go crazy, don't hurt yourself, but making your legs ache, making your muscles activate is good, isn't it? It's exercise. Right, and that's what we're after. We're after some nice, gentle exercise. Now, let's look at some other things about the stance. Hopefully you can see that my feet aren't in line. If you're facing me, I'm not like this. My feet aren't in line, one directly in front of the other, because that's not a good balanced position generally. I mean, there are good reasons to stand like this sometimes, but let's start with a more general approach to begin with. Right, so let's be nice and open in that stance. Right, so both knees bent, feet or stance approximately shoulder width wide, and you are facing me, I'm facing you. Right, now hands up. This is a good guard position. Right, we'll be talking as we get into this more about sort of more traditional karate position with hands pulled back and all sorts of other things. But there's always a reason for having your hand pulled back. And a good guard position with your hands up and relaxed is a nice general start position. Alright, so we're in the stance, we got our hands up, and we're going to punch with our front hand. Alright, so for you it will be your left hand, obviously mine's right because I'm mirroring. I'm going to extend out this arm, turn it palm down as I come to full extension, and then let it drop back this way. So I'll push in this way, extend out there, and drop back this way. If I turn sideways, you can see that I push in and back. I'll push in and back. Right, now, all of your body is involved in every technique that you do. You know, there is never any technique in karate that's just an arm, a leg, a knee. Right? Everything's involved because everything has to support everything else. Everything has to move everything else, and that's what makes it such a great whole body exercise regime. You know, it's just lovely. Okay, so here we are. Then we're going to go left hand punch. Straight out, and we're going to push ourselves forward as we do this. Right, nice and relaxed. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, switch legs. Right, so from the other stance now. Now, so we keep this a bit realistic. I want you to imagine that when you punch, you're making contact with those two knuckles first. So if I'm coming a bit closer to the camera, so you're making contact with those two knuckles first. Yeah, so you push your hand forward that way. You can't really see on there, can you? So that way, if you like. Yeah, so that would make contact first. Okay, here we go then, ready? So you're on a right stance, ready? 1, extend out and back. 2, extend out and back. 3, 4, 5, 6, you're keeping your back hand up. 7, and are you using your whole body in punch? 8, 9, 10. Good. All right, now when we've done technique and we want to come to a finish, bring something to a close, we do a thing. We make a position called come on, which is this position. Yeah, and we just then relax, bow and relax. Good. All right, so we'll try and include all of these things as we go through, because as I said before, let's make it a fairly complete art, so you get to know a lot of the art, even though you may not want to compete. Well, you certainly might want to compete, but you may not want to put it into actual action in terms of combat. Right, so let's make it as realistic as possible. Good. All right, so let's move on then. So we do set position. We'll start with Junbi. Yeah, this feet wide position are about as wide as your shoulders, and hands held here like this. All right, you're going to step forward into a fighting stance this way. Good. All right, now we're going to do reverse punch. So this is with our back hand. We're going to twist in this way. So twist in here and back. And if I turn sideways again, you can see how it looks from the side. So we're in this position, knees bent. We're going to push in this way and come back here. Push in here and back. And you can see my weight gets pushed gently forward. Yeah, I go on here this way and back. This hand is up. I twist in my body, my shoulders. All my abdominal muscles are being used. The muscles of my back, my dorsal muscles are all being used. They're all being activated and turned and twisted and used. Alright, so here we go. So, Junbi and left leg. There we go. So now left stance, but right punch, right hand punches. Ready? 1, Good. And turn your hand over at the end of the punch so it ends up palm down, just as you did with that front hand punch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, and change legs. Here we go, knees soft. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, right, come on. And show relax. Good. Alright, now, making a fist. Hands like this, your fingers come down first, and your thumbs go on top here. And again, if I come closer to the camera, unfortunately it's a bit of a shade here, isn't it? But my fingers come down first, and my thumb goes on top here. Alright, so fingers down, thumb on top. Alright, so that position. Good. Alright. So, hopefully, again, this will depend enormously on what your background is and how fit and strong you are to begin with. But hopefully, as you've spent some time in this fighting stance with your knees soft and your thighs activated, you're starting to think, oh, those muscles are starting to work. It's starting to make my legs, a little bit tingly, a little bit activated, maybe even a little bit sore. But stick with it, don't go crazy. As I've said earlier in the session, these muscles, and these muscles, they're the things that will get our blood flowing quickest and easiest. And that's good, it's activity, it gets circulation going. Alright, so don't be afraid to use those, it's a really good thing to do. Alright, so let's do a lower limb technique this one. Set position, beat. Good, alright, and left leg in front, step. Good, so same position, knees bent, knees soft, and thighs and glutes activated, and body upright this way. Alright, so we're going to do a knee strike. So we're going to come through with this back knee here, strike there, land forward, and then step back. And now, again, let me turn sideways. So we're here, I'm going to come through here, knee strike there, land, and step back. And now, hopefully this doesn't need too much description. As I come through there would be the contact point, land, and step forward. Now, I don't mind how high or how low you do this technique. This can be a technique that works into somebody else's thigh, if ever you're thinking about would it be real and would it be useful, or it could be good into someone's solar plexus. So the height is irrelevant, because what we're after here is movement and activity. Alright, but let's make it as realistic as possible as well, so we're learning good technique. So keep those hands up. I'm going to come through with that back knee. I want you to land with the other leg in front, or if you prefer, to do your knee and then land back where you were to start with. Alright, so I don't mind. I'll count quite slowly so that if you want to land in front and step back, you can, and I will do that sometimes as well. Alright, ready? Keep those hands up. 1. So knee, I'll land in front of this one. Back. 2. 3. Good, I'll land in front of the next one. 4. 5. And again. For me, when I land in front, I put a little bit more momentum into the technique. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. And switch legs. Ready then, keep those hands up. Keep that stance nice, ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, and go on and shall relax. Good, alright, so well done. Now, that's all we're going to do technique wise for your first session, and hopefully you can see several things. You can see this is going to be about movement. I will nag you about precision, because I think precision is good if you're going to learn something for a hobby and an interest. You know, let's not be too casual about it, because we're not talking about a combative art. We're talking about doing something for a hobby. And my belief is, if you're doing it for a hobby, learn about it, learn as much as you can and be as precise as you can. The thing is, you may want to show somebody else this one day, and if you know good technique and you can show them good technique and precise technique, then you will teach them good stuff, useful stuff, not sort of half-hearted stuff and half there stuff. We've done 2 hand techniques, 2 upper body techniques and 2 lower body techniques. So it's a reasonable start. And what we'll do is we'll be looking at blocks, stances, punches, strikes, kicks. And we're going to keep all the kicks low. We're going to be doing them all certainly below the waist. Right, so don't worry about needing to be super flexible and be able to have the strength to get your legs up high. That's not going to be an issue. Hopefully you will increase in strength and in flexibility anyway when we're doing this, because that's one of my objectives. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed it, and remember, this is like your intro session to slow and low karate, and if you like it and you think, yeah, I'm going to look into that a bit more, then go to the Brain Dojo website, braindojo.com, and you'll see some more information there that will explain to you all about how this goes on. These are weekly sessions. I upload a session every week. My objective, my hope, is that my students will practice those classes maybe 2 or 3 times during the week, and then another class is uploaded that's a little bit more, a little bit challenging, a little bit different, and that's how we get progress. Yeah, so they give you some things to practice, you practice them, they give you a little bit more, we go again. You know, so it's quite a simple and straightforward situation. And if you have any questions, by all means email me or message me from the website. That's the easiest way, and I'll do my very best to answer them. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed the session, and as I said, if you have any questions, please get in touch with me. Remember the objectives of slow and low karate. Keep people active, or get people active, physically and mentally, for it to be an interest, for it to be a hobby, for you to do things correctly because that's more interesting, you know, rather than being too casual, and for you to have fun. I want this to be fun for you. All the sessions are between 20 and 30 minutes, so not a huge amount of time. There'll be a very low level of fitness to begin with, and hopefully we'll get that up a little bit, but I'm not too worried about fitness for fitness's sake. I would much rather have your mental and physical fitness improved by just general activity. Alright, well, I hope you've enjoyed the session. I'm going to bow out now. It's been lovely teaching you, and I hope to have a long and enjoyable student-instructor relationship with you. Alright, let's bow. Alright, see you soon, guys.